ever think about how, like, a single event can just totally rewrite the rules of the game?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
discovering a new energy source, or in
Certainly.
this case,
Yeah.
unearthing a treasure trove of gold.
I mean, talk about a game changer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're diving into today. We've got this report detailing this massive gold discovery in China's Hunan province, and let me tell
Oh.
you, it is making headlines for good reason, and
Yeah.
we're not just talking about a few gold nuggets here.
Right.
This deposit is estimated to hold a staggering 1,000 metric tons of gold ore.
Wow.
I mean,
That's incredible. To put that into perspective,
yeah,
that's more than the entirety of South Africa's South Deep mine,
really?
which was previously the largest known gold deposit in the world.
Wow. That's hard to even wrap my head around. What does that even look like? 1,000 metric tons. Like, help me visualize this.
Okay, so imagine a solid gold cube,
Hmm.
each side longer than a basketball court.
Wow.
That's the kind of scale we're talking about.
Yeah.
And in terms of pure gold, it's estimated to yield around 350 tons after processing.
So
That's enough to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool to the brim.
that's a lot of gold.
Yeah.
And when we're talking quantities like that, we're talking serious money, right?
Oh, absolutely.
What's the estimated value of a find this size?
We're looking at a figure of roughly 83 billion US dollars.
Wow.
To put that into perspective, that's more than the entire GDP of many countries.
I'm starting to see why this is such a big deal. But this isn't just about China striking it rich, right?
No,
It sounds like this discovery could be a major power play on the global stage.
absolutely.
Yeah.
China has been quietly but steadily increasing its gold reserves for years as part of a larger economic strategy.
Okay.
Think of it like building a financial fortress,
Okay.
a way to protect themselves against global uncertainty
Right.
and reduce reliance on foreign resources. This discovery is a huge leap forward in that plan.
Makes sense. Gold is often seen as a safe haven asset, especially during times of economic turmoil.
For sure.
But I'm curious about the specifics of China's strategy here. How does their approach to gold compare to other countries, say the United States?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
China's approach is actually quite different.
Okay.
While the U.S. holds the largest gold reserves in the world,
Yeah.
their focus is more on maintaining the stability of the dollar as the global reserve currency.
Okay.
China, on the other hand, has been actively accumulating gold,
Yeah.
viewing it as a strategic asset for diversifying their reserves and potentially challenging the dollar's dominance in the long run.
So while the U.S. is playing defense, China is on the offense.
You could say that, yes.
And this new gold discovery gives them a huge advantage.
For sure.
But what does this mean for the rest of the world? What kind of ripple effects are we likely to see in the global gold market?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
China already produces about 10% of the world's gold,
Okay.
which is significant.
Right.
But this discovery could potentially double their output. This would make them a dominant player in the global market,
Yeah.
with the power to influence prices and trade flows.
Hold on. 10% becoming 20%? That's a huge jump.
It is.
So what happens to the price of gold when you suddenly have that much more entering the market?
Well, basic economics tells us that an increase in supply usually leads to a decrease in price.
Right.
But it's not that simple with gold.
Okay.
Gold's price is driven by a complex interplay of factors: investor sentiment,
Okay.
geopolitical tensions,
Yeah.
currency fluctuations,
Okay.
and even things like jewelry demand.
So even with all this new gold flooding the market, we might not see prices plummet overnight.
Right.
There are too many other forces at play.
Exactly. And here's where it gets even more complex.
Okay.
While increased supply could potentially push prices down,
Okay.
China's aggressive accumulation strategy might actually have the opposite effect.
Okay.
The more they buy, the higher the demand.
Yeah.
And that could drive prices up.
Okay.
It's a fascinating push and pull dynamic.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
So we've got this potential price war brewing in the gold market,
Right.
with China's newfound abundance kind of pushing against their own aggressive buying strategy.
Yeah.
But let's zoom out for a moment
Right.
and think about the bigger picture.
Sure.
How might this impact other major players in the gold market,
Yeah.
like India and the Middle East?
That's a critical question.
Yeah.
India, for example, is the world's second largest consumer of gold.
Wow.
Their demand is driven by cultural traditions,
Okay.
investment preferences,
Yeah.
and even practical considerations like hedging against inflation,
Right.
a shift in the global gold market with China potentially calling more of the shots,
Yeah.
could significantly impact their access to gold and influence prices within their own domestic market.
So even though India isn't directly involved in this discovery,
Right.
they could feel the effects pretty strongly.
Absolutely.
What about the Middle East?
Yeah.
How might this play out in that region?
The Middle East is interesting because they play a dual role in the gold market.
Okay.
They're both significant consumers,
Okay.
particularly for jewelry and luxury goods,
Right.
and major producers,
Okay.
with countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE having substantial gold mining operations.
Yeah.
A shift in the global balance of power,
Yeah.
with China potentially wielding more influence over supply and pricing,
Okay.
could have a ripple effect on their economies,
Okay.
potentially impacting everything from trade balances to investment strategies.
It's starting to feel like this single discovery in China
Yeah,
could set off a chain reaction across the entire global economy.
it very well could.
But I keep hearing this term, geopolitical stakes, being thrown around.
Yeah,
Can you unpack that a bit for me?
sure.
What does this have to do with international relations and global power dynamics?
It's about understanding that gold isn't just a shiny metal.
Right.
It's a strategic asset with real geopolitical weight. Large gold reserves can translate into economic and political leverage on the world stage.
Okay.
Imagine a scenario where global tensions rise,
Yep.
currencies become volatile,
Yeah.
and traditional markets become unstable.
Okay.
Suddenly, those nations with large gold reserves have a significant advantage.
Yeah.
They could use their gold to back their currency,
Okay.
secure loans, and even negotiate favorable trade deals.
It sounds almost like having a secret weapon tucked away,
It kind of is.
ready to be deployed when the stakes are high.
Right.
But let's bring this back down to earth for a second.
Okay.
How might this discovery impact our listeners?
Yeah.
People who might not be dealing with billions of dollars in gold or navigating international diplomacy.
That's the key question, isn't it?
Yeah.
While these global shifts might seem abstract,
Right.
they can have very real consequences for individuals.
Okay.
For example, if you're considering investing in gold,
Yeah.
this discovery adds a whole new layer of complexity to your decision-making. Understanding China's role in the market and the potential for price fluctuations becomes crucial.
So even if you're not a high roller in the gold market, you still need to pay attention to these developments because they could affect your investment portfolio.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it goes beyond just investments.
Yep.
Fluctuations in the gold market can have ripple effects throughout the entire global economy,
Right.
impacting things like interest rates,
Well,
currency exchange rates,
yeah.
and even the prices of consumer goods.
I hadn't thought about that connection before.
Yeah, it's all connected.
So it's not just about gold.
Right.
It's about how gold is intertwined with everything else in the global financial system.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's why this discovery is so fascinating.
Yeah.
It forces us to look beyond the surface,
Right.
to understand the complex interplay of economics,
Oh, okay.
geopolitics,
Right.
and even cultural forces that
Wow.
shape the world around us.
Wow, that's fascinating. Yeah, it really is amazing to think that something as seemingly simple as discovering gold can have such far-reaching consequences.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground today,
We have.
from the sheer size of this discovery to the potential impact on global markets and even individual investors.
Right.
What stands out to you as the most significant takeaway from all of this?
I think what's most compelling is how this discovery underscores the shifting dynamics of the global economic landscape.
Okay.
For decades, the United States has held the reins of the global financial system,
Right.
with the dollar as the dominant reserve currency.
Yeah.
But China's strategic accumulation of gold, coupled with this massive discovery,
Right.
signals a potential shift in the balance of power.
Okay.
It's a reminder that the world is in constant flux,
Yeah.
and those who adapt and strategize effectively will be the ones who shape the future.
It's like watching a slow-motion power play unfold right before our eyes.
It really is.
And it raises a lot of questions about the future role of gold.
Yeah.
Is it still the ultimate safe haven asset?
Right.
Or is its relevance waning in a world increasingly dominated by digital currencies and decentralized finance?
That's a question that economists and investors are grappling with right now.
Right.
Some argue that gold's value is timeless,
Yeah.
a hedge against inflation and uncertainty that will always hold its allure.
Right.
Others believe that cryptocurrencies and other digital assets
Yeah.
are poised to disrupt the traditional financial system.
Okay.
potentially diminishing gold's importance.
It's almost like we're at a crossroads with two different paths emerging.
Yeah.
One path leads us towards a future where gold remains a cornerstone of global finance,
Right.
a symbol of stability and security.
Yeah.
The other path takes us into uncharted territory,
Right.
where digital currencies and decentralized systems reshape the way we think about value and exchange.
That's right. And the fascinating thing is,
Yeah.
we don't know which path we ultimately take.
Right.
This discovery in China adds another layer of complexity to the equation, potentially tipping the scales in favor of gold's continued relevance.
Okay.
But it also serves as a wake-up call,
Okay.
urging us to pay attention to these emerging trends and think critically about how they might shape our lives in the years to come.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into this golden discovery,
Yeah,
I'm left with a sense of both excitement and uncertainty.
I can see that.
It's thrilling to witness these global shifts taking place,
Yeah.
but it also makes you wonder what the world will look like on the other side of this transition.
You know, that's the beauty of living in a dynamic world.
Yeah.
It's unpredictable,
Right.
constantly evolving,
Yeah.
and full of surprises.
Right.
And sometimes those surprises come in the form of a massive gold deposit
Right.
that forces us to rethink our assumptions and consider the possibilities that lie ahead.
It's a reminder that we're not just passive observers, we're all participants in this unfolding narrative.
We are.
And the choices we make, both individually and collectively,
Right.
will determine the course of our shared future. So stay curious.
Yeah,
Stay informed.
absolutely.
And keep exploring the complexities of our ever-changing world.
That's what we're here for.